Hello guys, welcome back to another tutorial on Spatial UI. So in this tutorial, we're going to talk about indicator. So what's about this indicator, right? It's basically going to make this green arrow. This green arrow affects that to move around the path that we already have. Okay, so basically it's kind of like to animate something to move along the path, and we're gonna use it by doing it by using a particle system. Okay, so the indicator itself is a particle system. So generally particle system itself, right, takes a lot of time to make it look nice and stuff. You got like things like additive blending and such. So for this case, this tutorial itself, right, it's not so much about tweaking the particle system, right, but more of like how to making an object to move along a path that's given. Okay, I mean we have got this path from the previous assignment whereby we use snapmesh agents to create to find the path and to draw lines along this path. Right, and in this indicator tutorial, right, we're also gonna see how we can move this object along the path from waypoint to waypoint. Itself is a rather dry topic, so we'll just be discussing about the code, so we won't be coding line by line and stuff. So the package itself, kind of everything is done for you in this Unity package. You can get it over at this URL, and inside this package itself, there's 4 items. So one is the prefab, then the C# script, materials, and lastly the image itself for the arrow. Okay, so feel free to change them if you want. Okay, no problems. Right, so a bit of the concept of what we're gonna try to do, right, is basically in this script itself, there's 5 different functions. So from start indicator functions, move to point functions, reset, as well as 2 slightly different functions, which is a coroutine function, right? So coroutine basically kind of like multitask. Okay, so we'll look into that in the next slide. But for start indicator, right, it's basically to initialize the indicator, and as well when the player touches the trigger object, which is on this part. Okay, so if you can see, when the green guy touches the yellow objects, right, then will form our green path, right? So this is the time whereby I want to tell my arrows indicators, right, like what's the path and how do you move along this path. Okay, so in order to move along, right, we have a move to point function. Okay, so basically this move to point function will pass in the point, okay, of each waypoint. Okay, so basically it will keep moving. Okay, so it will keep moving by calling the move routine functions, okay, to continuous move until you reach the next point. Okay, so when you reach the next point, then it will be updated to say like from waypoint, let's say I reach waypoint 1, then my next point will be then waypoint 2. Okay, so that's the point of this function. Okay, is to check if you are near the waypoint, and followed by reset. So basically when I reach the end, or I first touches the trigger, I will reset everything, because I can move from different triggers to different triggers. So every time I touches the new triggers, I have to reset. Likewise, when I touches my last waypoint, I will also have to reset myself. Okay, reset the indicator. Okay, so the 2 special functions basically to continuously move as well as continuously to emit particles. Okay, so that's these two special functions. Right, so about the 2 special functions, right, is they are known as coroutine function. So basically it's kind of like multitasking. So basically if you have got like like an update functions, and along the way you update your whatever things that some kind of like your enemy's position, or where's your enemy facing and stuff. So all this thing is continuously done like every frame, right? Every update is called every frame. And for special functions like move routine as well as emit routine, right, it's kind of like loops within itself. So it just repeats within itself rather than it, you know. So the main update function still repeats, but the move routine function should repeats among itself. Okay, so that's kind of like the difference, okay, between these 2 functions. Okay, so generally do not get confused. Okay, right, and we'll look into the actual code implementation to see how are they different lah. Okay, before moving into the implementation, let's dive over. Okay, so first thing first, right, is basically I want to import my Unity package, which is kind of like in this icon. So when I import, I will have 4 different icons. 4 different objects, the prefabs, the scripts, okay, as well as the images and the material itself. Okay, so let's fire up the script. Okay, so in the script itself, right, there's a few variables that you can tweak, such as like delay before starts. It's like kind of like when this object is created, right, how long before it starts moving. Okay, so for this case, it's 2 seconds, right, and as well as how fast it moves and how often does it updates. Okay, so every indicator object itself, they also has a particle system and a list of waypoints for us to follow, for the indicator to follow through, as well as variables to keep track of which next point is it, which next waypoint is it gonna follow towards to. Okay, and start function will give us to get a reference to our particle system, and start indicator functions, right? Okay, we will have a parameter to take in the position list. Okay, so basically the position that the deathmatch agent has, so we're gonna receive it here. And the first thing too is we want to reset all the waypoint that we already currently existing, that we already existingly have lah. Okay, then followed by having a for loop to loop through all the points that we receive and copy onto our waypoint list. Okay, and before we start moving, we have to clear all the coroutine. Okay, all the existing coroutine has to be stopped before we start a new one. Okay, so that's kind of like how you start the indicator moving lah. So you have to clear all the existing waypoint, copy over all the waypoints, and stop all the old coroutines and start moving. Okay. So for the move coroutine, right? Okay, you can see what unique about coroutine itself is there is a while function. Okay, so basically this infinite while function will actually not while function but while loop will actually loops inside continuously, right, until you say stop. Okay, so upon calling coroutine, right, again first thing first, reset every information that this current indicator has. Okay, wait for X number of seconds. Okay, maybe this indicator has to wait for 2 seconds before it starts moving, and as well as start another coroutine called emit routine. Okay, so for emit routine, right, basically it's another while loop that will emit particle system. That will emit particle for every uh, X amount of second given to it. Okay, so this coroutine function is just doing one thing, which is to emit a particle within a certain given intervals. Okay, right. So after you have started the particle coroutine, right, then it's then to go to the part whereby we have to move the indicator forward. Okay, so to move the indicator forward, first thing first, we have to check if it's near to the point that the destination point that is moving towards lah. Okay, so which is done inside this move to point function. Okay, passing it the the next point ID. Okay, the next point. So inside that move to function, right? Okay, it's basically trying to find the distance from its current position to the destination position. Okay, so apart from getting the distance, I also set its rotation of the indicator to face towards the destination, and then to translate it forward. Okay, so this is to move it forward. And lastly, right, we want to check if the distance that between the current position of the indicator and the destination, right, is less than 0.1. We're gonna return true. If not, we're just gonna return false. Okay. So if we return true, right, basically means we are nearby the next point already. Then we're gonna increase our point count to the next guy. Okay. And lastly, right, we have another if condition to check if we are at the end of the waypoint. If we are at the end, we're gonna reset this whole function again. We're gonna call the reset function to reset. Okay. So for reset function, it's just basically reset the next waypoint to the 0. Okay, so we're gonna start from beginning again and set our position, the indicator's position, to the waypoint 0 as well. Okay, so that's the idea of like how do we move an object along a waypoint given. Okay, so if we move back a slides. Okay, so this kind of what we covered. So basically you start from a first waypoint, you are moving towards the waypoint 1. So by moving forward, right, move to point function will be called lah. Okay, so when you're nearby point 1, okay, or reaching point 1, okay, your next destination will be point 2. Okay, so on and so forth until the end. Okay, that will call reset. Then that will set our arrow back to waypoint 0 again. Okay, so that's the idea of this hint indicator moving. Okay, so as mentioned, coroutine function, right, the move routine function, right, kind of repeats within itself. Okay, and it doesn't kind of like affect by anything that's done by the update function. Okay, so how to implement this into our existing path? Okay, so pretty simple. So open the indicator Unity package, which we have already done so. Okay, and you can get it from the URL earlier on. So you want to drag the prefab onto the scene. Okay, and you want to create an array. Nextly, we want to let our hint path script knows who are all the indicators that will be moving. Okay, and lastly is to add another for loop to copy to let all the hint indicator know the path to follow. Okay, so that's kind of like the few steps to get this thing integrated into what we already have. Okay, so if we head over, we look at our path, then we want to open our path script. Okay, so I'm gonna create another public variable. So this will be in indicator array. Okay, so inside this indicator array, right, we're gonna say when we are gonna set up our line render position, right? Okay, we also want to set up we also want to let all hint our hint indicator knows what's the waypoint. So you're gonna do a for loop. Okay, so for this for loop, we're gonna look through all the hint indicator that we already know. Okay, then for that, we're gonna say hint indicator index I. Okay, dot start indicator. So this we're gonna pass in the waypoint from our navmesh agent. So navmesh agents is actually using this. Okay, path.corner.length. Not without the dot length. Okay, so path.corner. So this will be the list of vector trees, array of vector trees, right, of our waypoint. Okay, so save that. Okay, let's go back to our scene. Okay, we got to bring our indicator prefab onto the scene. Okay, let's call this indicator 1. Okay, so we can set how long to start. Okay, and let's not forget that our hint path will need to know how many indicator or who are the indicator. Okay, so let's just put 1 and bring this one indicator in. Okay, so now when I touches my point, okay, it will have a green animated arrow moving. Okay, so if I have two different indicator, I can set their delay time to maybe say 2 seconds. Okay, so one will start right immediate and after will be 2 seconds later. Okay, so what we did not do is that we did not bring it to the hint path. So let's put 2 and include that second one. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, the timing somehow is a bit not in sync. Okay, so if you can see from the top, okay, we have 2 indicator running. Okay, maybe let's off the lights. Okay, so this indicator will just keep running, okay, until you stop. Okay, so that is how we include the indicator over to our existing path. Okay, so this whole package is already given to you. You can use it to integrate in. Okay, so just some settings to recap. Okay, so basically you want to drag all the indicators into the hint path of the inspector. Okay, which is you set the how many indicators do you have and drag them all in. Then after that you can configure their delay time. So maybe you want to start in the interval of 2 seconds. So maybe start 0, 2, 4, 6 and slash. Okay, with that, that's how you kind of create a animated indicator for your path. Okay, so hope to see this being used in your game and in your projects. And yep, good luck and have fun.